All right, so says storage space running out. Let's see if it'll. That means I can't make another video quite yet. When I try to hit this thing right here, hit this thing in the corner, says delete from device, backup now, and move to archive. Before I can delete it from the device, I have to wait for it to back up, which it is backing up right now. So, I just spent over 2 hours waiting on it to do its thing. I gotta wait a while longer for it to finish backing itself up on the device before I can delete it and make the next video. So, I guess I'll start off by reading this. This is from Boulder County Jail. It's a inmate grievance form. It says, as an inmate in the Boulder County Jail, you may submit a grievance if you want to present a complaint regarding 1, a violation of policy or procedure, 2, a violation of civil, constitutional, or statutory rights, 3, criminal or prohibited acts have been committed by an employee or volunteer. Submit this completed form to your module deputy. They will attempt to resolve this issue with you. If they are unable to resolve the issue, this form will then be submitted to the on-duty supervisor. Please state your grievance below as it relates to one of the categories listed above. You must clearly state which of these 3 alleged violations occurred, by whom and when and where it did take place. I wrote, I have been assaulted 4 times, but was only given 1 grievance form. None of the officers will share their names, and asking results in disciplinary actions against me, including lockup, the chair, and the assorted hazing, bullying, teasing from many deputies. This instigation is based on who the deputies deem acceptable victims and those who speak out against the treatment of inmates. These same officers took part in the cover up of the Boulder PD assault against me in January 2018. All officers and deputies have refused me their names, badge numbers, and access to basic human rights in order to bully compliance out of me. It says use backside of form if necessary. Inmate name Sean Schwartz. Deputy/badge number. Deputies refused. Housing unit, special management intake. Date and time, August 24th at booking. Date and time, now, August 27th. I have been trying to keep my last marble. The inmates are picked on. They can't take it out on the guards, so they take it out on whichever inmate is standing up to the guards. This is me. Deputy C. Domenico just brought back both my grievance and my grievance appeal. They're filled out wrong. Then he leaves. I just spent the last 3 days being picked on by kids with badges, but ain't dead yet. I am on the disciplinary unit. These guys are bullies. They haven't threatened me with the chair today, not since my Houdini from it a night or 2 ago. I slipped out of the chair in Boulder County Jail. Jay Hartner and the disciplinary crew of this morning are why cops deserve prison. One tactic they use is to strobe the window. Another is to turn off the water and pretend they are drinking from an empty gallon container. Fuck the police. I got some more here. Let's see what we got going on. Here's Shannon Alvarado's envelope. It's got her address on it, and I'd like to keep that safe. I do care about Shannon, despite the fucked up shit that she did. I understand that it's due to alcoholism. Just like I understand Brett Roloff, the things that he were doing was due to his meth use. Just like I understood with Rihanna that that was because of her alcoholism. I understood with Fuzzy Bear that the reason he was doing the shit he was doing was because of alcoholism. I understood that the reason that Natalie and Alicia were doing the things that they were doing, and Maddie Boa as well, was because of meth use and heroin use. I understood these things. Let's see what other pieces of paper I have. Here's one for my little sister. It says, "My name is Terry Hicks. I am having ankle surgery on the 16th of July." This is from 2018. "My brother Sean is helping me out till surgery and then 2 months after surgery. He is the only one close by that can help me out. If you need to talk to me about this more, please give me a call at," and it's got her phone number. "I really don't have anyone else that can help me out doing stuff I can't do right now. I am limited on what I can do. Terry Hicks." This one right here is from one of the employees at the First Choice Inn. It says, "Sean Schwartz came into the First Choice Inn in Rawlins, Wyoming tonight, needing help with payment for a room after being released from jail in Carbon County. I called the Carbon County Sheriff's Office to see if they would point me in the right direction as far as who to contact to help Mr. Schwartz. I was told to contact the Rawlins PD. When speaking to Rawlins Police Department, they told me that the officers said not to authorize transient funds to Mr. Schwartz and that the funds come from an organization of local churches and that those churches go with the Rawlins Police Department recommendations as well as the Rawlins police officers." That was on 9/9/2016. By the way, the officers in the police department had already let me know by this point that they were hunting for me. Um, they had already decided my guilt and wanted to distribute some vigilante fucking justice by preventing me from having a place to stay, preventing me from having any warmth. They'd already fucked up and taken my vehicle. They were doing everything in their power to fucking destroy my life and send me into a panic attack and haze me and harass me, doing absolutely nothing about the abuse that was happening at Rihanna's. I mean, this was such a fucked up goddamn situation. Um, Here's one from Graham. That's Tabby and Graham. It says, "I, Graham Milburn." Well, actually, first I should show you this one, I guess. I don't know if I did already or not. The other one I'm not going to show you because it's got my little sister's number on it. Now, after this woman wrote this down, I got to meet another woman who works at the America's First Inn or whatever. Let me find their card. I've been going through the massive piles of shit that I got in order to get these cards. This is just a small portion of them. Zoe Tanner, Lakewood PD, Kersey Police Department, Louisville Police, Colorado Coalition for the Homeless, um, another one, Crew Counseling, Crew Counseling, Crew Counseling, Crew Counseling. Here's the old one from Crew Counseling, and another old one from Crew Counseling. Cheyenne Police, Officer Huff. Cheyenne Police, Officer Ruiz. Holy name, I guess is what it says on here. Sheridan Police Department. That's Sheridan, Wyoming, though, not Sheridan, Colorado. So when I talk about Sheridan, and I'm talking about Colorado, which is most of the time. That's Officer Brian Valenzuela was from the Sheridan Police Department. Meanwhile, Ken and Lee is where I lit the fire. That wasn't Sheridan. Wrong jurisdiction altogether. Here's Officer Miles Rippey, Cheyenne Police. Lafayette Police Department, M. Christ. Glenn Biggs, J. Calhoun. This is from the Rollins Police Department. This is one of the officers who was involved in their cover up in the harassment. Glenn Biggs is their mental health dude, and he was involved in it as well. Court April 26th at 9:15. This is Zoe Tanner, so it's got one of my court dates on there. That's a big help. Janelle Fontana, she's the manager of the Starbucks in Washington State that I was at. I had a fucking meltdown there. Boat trailer. No. University of Wyoming, another one from Janelle. This is the card from the mental health place that Miss Peaches took me to. And the police, just shortly after that, wrote down in their reports that I wasn't trying to get any help. I'd been trying to go to all these places. I'd been seeing Nicole Peralta even after Natalie's death. I was going to see her when I could. This is Alfredo Porras, Sergeant, and Sergeant Davis as well. These are two of the officers that took part in stealing evidence, throwing away evidence in front of me, and refusing to take a report about the abuse that I was enduring, and also throwing it in my face that I needed a civil lawyer or I was fucked. Bo Fisher, he's the one who got me in contact with the autism advocate here, Colorado Law. Chris Hoffrick, that's from the city of Sydney Police Department. Chris Hoffrick was one of the officers that I talked to about the situation, well, several situations with Desiree. Stephanie J. Cotton, that's the public pretender in Larimer County, who was not my public pretender. She was replacing Zoe Tanner, sort of, but then she couldn't look at any evidence because she was not my public pretender. This is Cody Selhorst. Fuck this rotten ass son of a bitch. He deserves prison. Fuck him. Frenchman Valley Co-op. This is Jeff Ortiz, former sheriff of Chapel, Nebraska. Although the current regime has not assaulted me, Jeff Ortiz did. Sean Holloway, Chapel Police Department. Now, what is it in specific that I'm looking for? Oh, here's Lakewood Towing. Colorado Crisis Services. Another one of Nicole Peralta's cards. Another Crew Counseling card. There's a fucking shit ton of them because I was going to my appointments. I was going to see therapists to try to get help before Natalie was fucking killed and after. But I couldn't afford it. Lakewood Police Department Officer Wiley, Lakewood, Washington. He's one of the officers who they did exactly what they did in the other jurisdiction. And they call ahead, by the way. They call ahead to the jurisdiction that they're dropping you off in to let these other officers know what to do. They do coordinate, they do work together, and they do so across jurisdictional boundaries with or without legal permission to do so. Scottsbluff Public Defender, Jessica R. Myers, she didn't even fucking show up to court. Meanwhile, I was being fucking tortured in that jail as well. That's what happens when they accuse you of assaulting an officer. Even if they drop the charges, if they don't erase it, then it's fucking there to stick. Nettie's Treasures, that's the business that, let's see, oh, here's the one from Bozeman Health Deaconess Hospital. That's the one in Bozeman, Montana that I went to. I was going to hospitals trying to get help. Justin Short, Envision Counseling, Scott, got their numbers on there. Temple Free Will Baptist Church, that one was in Bristol, Virginia. I was trying to get help there as well. It's got Denver 7 because I called them. News tips at thedenverchannel.com. Social Security Administration award letter, News 4. Cheyenne Regional Medical Center. I mean, everywhere that I went, I was trying to get fucking help. Everywhere that I fucking went. All right, I know that card is in here somewhere. Let me go back through these. I know that it's in here. It's got to be. Because it's got their stuff written on the back of it. It's got the lady who wrote that, and it's got the other lady who was there that night, and they're the ones that told me about the police scanner and how they had heard it, and they told me that they would testify, and they work at the America's First Inn. There was another woman there who also had the same issue with the police there. They were doing similar fucked up shit. I mean, it was such a fucked up situation there. Oh my fucking god. That was the Rollins PD. You know, I mean, fucking Jesus Christ, this shit happened across the entire United States. You know. You want to pretend that I'm fucking crazy, but you know what? I got enough stuff on here recorded that you guys can go ahead and call me whatever the fuck you want. There's enough evidence to prove that I was telling the fucking truth. All right, it's not in this pile. That doesn't mean that it doesn't exist, mind you. Uh, um, fuck, there's a lot more cards here. I'm sorry for not having this all organized. I'm still organizing it as best as I can. It's just there's a lot of stuff, you know. Um, Ace Flair checking, Derek Apodaca, Jasmine George, Helmstetter, Zach Boatman, Matthew Del. All right, that's a list of witnesses and shit. Fuck, there's a lot more on the other side. McKinnon, Batone. McKinnon was the officer who was going to offer one of the inmates who tried to turn him in with me. He offered him free sack lunches if he would retract his statement. That was Matthew Benson, by the way, in that particular situation. Um, Cheyenne, Keith, these are different counties. Medicaid, legal aid, adult protective services. I kept on calling these places, but I can't do it for myself. They kept on telling me, you know, who's your advocate, who's your. They all have different names for the guardian people there, guardian ad litem kind of thing for adults. Each state has a different name for it, kind of like each hospital has a different name for a lot of the stuff that they have there as far as their resources. Like the mental health hold is called something different in every state. Here's my United Health card. Let's see, that's my tap card. This is for when you get on the subway system in Los Angeles. Um, I know this shit is here somewhere, and I'm sorry I don't have it all set up like immediately when I'm bringing this up because there's just so much of it. Protection and advocacy, 7344 Stockman Street, Cheyenne, Wyoming. And each and every one of these places, they've got a reason why they couldn't help me. Some of them it's because the police called them up and told them not to. Some of them it's because they're run by the police department. Some of them it's because I needed to be able to show paperwork that I couldn't show because I didn't have it, because I didn't have a mailbox. And without that mailbox, there is so much that you're just not able to do. See, Winco Foods, that would have been from uh, up there in Washington State. Jeffrey Ritchie, that's Irish. He's the one who was telling me about Matty Boa in February of 2017 and a Jeep. Detective Nielsen, female of Adams County, came and talked to him about that. Matty Boa had cut somebody's brake lines to their Jeep, and that person almost died from it. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to mislead you guys. I do have it somewhere. It's just there's so much to go through. Office of the State Public Pretender, Laramie, Wyoming. This is some evidence from there that shows that they're just pieces of fucking shit. The effective ways to communicate with me, they made zero effort to try. I called him repeatedly and told him to call me back. He knew that I didn't have access to my mailbox, but he didn't give a fuck. He wasn't going to do his goddamn job. And he made that abundantly clear by repeatedly not getting back to me. I called him over and over and over again. And finally, right before, oh, here's another one from Nicole Peralta. Right before court is when he finally got back to me, and they wouldn't fucking talk to the witnesses. They wouldn't fucking listen to me. They wouldn't fucking nothing. All right, here's some more of this shit. Evan Dacus, Lena Mayes, this Shannon Alvarado, Dan Faber, Katie Kate, Harami, Missy Layla Johnson, Sarah Miller, Sarah Johnson, Kara Johnson, Sally Treon, Jennifer Zowski, Josh Full, Mike Dudette, Nancy Grace, Pam. These are a lot of people that here's some of the fucking fucked up officers I had to deal with: Tucker, O'Neill, McRae, Beatty, Peterson, Walsh, Teagan, Sadler, Green, Blensley, McConnell, Diestra, Solomon, Foley, McKinnon. This stuff all needs to be organized again. Every time that I have to move, I have to go through and organize it again. I know that I have this stuff here somewhere. Here's one: Comprehensive Life Resources. A lot of these places wouldn't help me or couldn't help me unless I had my special card shit in their fucking state already set up and ready to go. Let's see, is it in this pile? Jay Banstra, Derek Summers, Palazzolo, Alfaro. These are different officers from Arapahoe County Jail, obviously. And there's some phone numbers attached to that. Let's see, here's Arapahoe County Detention Facility inmate property release form. Denied until sentenced is what they wrote on there. I was trying to release that stuff to Kayla Trujillo because it was evidence that needed to be shown, and it needed to be not destroyed, and they weren't going to allow me access to any of that until I'd been sentenced. It was so fucked up. They did everything that they could to prevent that information from getting out, and it, like, fuck, everywhere in the United States I had to deal with this shit. Self-sufficiency of Laramie County, that's Cheyenne, Wyoming. Holy fucking shit, it was just so fucked up. And I saved the evidence. The problem is that this harassment and hazing and all that, it just, cops are fucking crooked as shit. Here's some Sean Schwartz follow up with current providers for mental health therapy, no medications at discharge. Where's this one from? 7/3/18. So that would have been Boulder, I believe. Um, I'm not for sure. I think that would have been Boulder County. Um, Haitian. Oh no, this was actually from Dual County. Reason for inpatient admission: suicidal. I'm always suicidal. But the thing is, I wasn't trying to commit suicide. I was trying to turn in officers. I was trying to make a report every step of the fucking way. And this is the fucking bullshit that they pulled. It says patient to make next available appointment with Nicole Peralta. The problem is that, and it says dismissal housing home, dismissal transportation self. Like, no, that's not fucking true. Like I literally had to walk from Scottsbluff, Nebraska, most of the way to Chapel. I mean, that was such a fucked up situation. They didn't give a holy fucking goddamn about what they were throwing me out into. These fucking cops are crooked as shit nationwide. They don't give a fuck about people who are disabled, especially with mental disabilities. Like the fucking shit that they put me through. Holy fucking goddamn it, you know? I'm trying to find that. It's probably buried in these fucking piles. I mean, oh my god. I guess I'll read this thing from Graham Milburn. It says, I, Graham Milburn, have been asked to bear witness to the events at Larimer County Public Defender Office in regards to Zoe Tanner. Zoe Tanner had an appointment with Sean Schwartz on 5/18/2018 at 3 o'clock p.m., and which Sean Schwartz had to drive from Nebraska to get there. When there, Sean was told that Zoe Tanner had to cancel without prior warning, the first excuse being she was in court, which quickly changed to she had a family emergency. They gave us three different excuses why she wasn't there. It says, with regards to court, Graham Milburn, um, here's one. It says, to whom it may concern, on September 8th, 2019, I received a call on my voicemail from a Robinson supervisor, either lieutenant or captain, saying he was uh, something regarding Sean Schwartz, who was in custody there, Carbon County Jail. I returned his call and he stated that Sean was in fact in custody there, and he called to ask me whether I was willing to offer any information about Sean and the person he was, type of thing. I told him that Sean had Asperger's syndrome and his high functioning autism, and he stated that Sean had also told him that. I requested that they document Sean's Asperger's autism in his paperwork so everyone there knew this. They took advantage of that, by the way. So he wasn't mistaken for a drug addict, drunk, or crazy person. If you look at my hospital paperwork from there, yeah, they pulled some fucked up shit. Um, he assured me that he would let the other officers know. I told him that Sean had anxiety, PTSD, severe panic attacks, and to please not force him to take any medications or to try to sedate him. He said they would not do that. I said that Sean might start screaming, hence the reason I stated the above, and not to mistake him for a person high on drugs or crazy person. The thing about the screaming is that I always have a reason when I start screaming. There is always a reason for it. Always. At Shannon's, I was screaming once. Once. When I'm screaming at the fucking computer, that's completely different. It really is. It's because I have to hold it in all the rest of the time. Um, in order to get me to scream, you have to be abusive. You really do. Or you have to ignore the fact that I am trying to tell you what's going on and you're fucking being a bully. You're fucking treating me like shit for it. Um, I stated that he had sensory issues and sensory overload was something he endured at times. I told him about Sean's unfair uh, deck of cards he was dealt in life and how he went through the system, grew up in the system, was violated as a young kid. This man is a good person that was dealt a horrible deck of cards. I told him about his friend Natalie Bollinger. I said that Sean was repeatedly physically assaulted by various people as well as law enforcement. I said that initially he was a suspect in the death of Natalie Bollinger. She was shot by someone by the name of Joseph Lopez. Initially, Sean was a suspect and he was assaulted, and his name is now tarnished to this day. He so badly wants to return to Colorado and see his loved ones, but is terrified to as he fears being assaulted by civilians as well as possibly law enforcement. I asked if Robinson would please take his report, file a police report regarding what he's trying to be heard about for 2 years, but he stated he couldn't. I asked him to please tell Sean I love him and that it's going to be okay. They said they would. Robinson, I asked if he was facility felonies or misdemeanors. He said misdemeanors, but was unable to tell me what they were. He said he wouldn't be able to tell me until Sean saw a judge the following Monday after 1 p.m. At the beginning of the call, he stated that he had seen that I had texted and tried to call Sean earlier. I mentioned the above to him, and he said they had seen that and that they had notified Sean. They said they talked Sean he could call me, but declined to at the time. They didn't know why. Robinson stated that I was his Sean's emergency contact listed on his intake paperwork. Thank you very much for your time. If you have any questions, feel free to call me. Sincerely, Shannon Alvarado. Um, cover up her phone number. Um, I mean, there are so many treasures buried in this. Those treasures are evidence. They're treasures because they can save a lot of lives. They can help to force police to have to wear body cameras and have volume on and have those things in the jails. Protect minorities, to protect the homeless, to protect anybody that is so incredibly easy to victimize. Um, I try not to have panic attacks about this. I try not to. Going through this is traumatic as fuck because I have to relive this shit in order to go through it. I'm not going to go back to the jails and be assaulted by the very same officers that assaulted me before. I'm not going to go back to the same courts and the same judges and the same public pretenders who would not do their fucking jobs. The same fucking system that is hell bent on preventing any of this evidence from being shown in court. The guy that I'm staying with, he bought me a pack of cigarettes, bought me Arizona tea before he left. The guy's good to me, but he's got some trauma of his own that he's got to deal with. I want to find that card. It's from Rollins, Wyoming. It shows the names of the witnesses. That if I was able to get an attorney that would listen, They wouldn't. Everywhere that I went, I took that evidence. Um, it's still downloading that shit and still says storage space running out. As soon as that's done, I'm gonna start with the messenger here between me and Alicia Bollinger. Um, this is I wrote this down as Jeffrey Ritchie was telling it to me. Jeffrey Ritchie, Irish, known from Starbucks. This is in 1 Charlie 9. That's the designation of his cell. Matty Boa, meth, February 2017. Jeep, Detective Nielsen, female, Adams County. I was writing this down as he was telling me through the vent. Our cells were right next to each other, so we could speak through the vent. Derek Thor, Apodaca, Jasmine, 13 years old, now 22, heroin, prostitute, possibly Crystal Beaucamp's sister. Crystal, raped by Boulder PD officer, given mentally ill treatment, lost her kid. Um, Stephanie Howard, public pretender. Kathleen, that's one of the public pretenders. Kathleen M. Jansky, fake judge. Peterson, Franklin, McRae, and Thorne. These were four of the officers who, when they were calling me to the door, this is the day before they put me on suicide watch. The day before McRae put me on suicide watch. I wrote the names down. Franklin, he said his name was Franklin with a PH. I don't know if that was actually his name. I didn't meet an Officer Franklin the whole time I was there. But that's what he told me his name was through the door. He called me to the door and then he put me on disciplinary for going to the door. They were fucking fucked up. Um, J. Adam Beckman, Brandon E. Siglione Law Firm. There's just whatever I had handy. Just drive anybody fucking crazy. The cops were assholes everywhere I went, and you guys make excuses for them. You say their job is tough. Really? How tough is it? Is it sleeping behind a dumpster tough? Being stuck out in cold weather tough? Well, you guys bitch about how cold it is with your big puffy fucking jackets walking from your house to your vehicle in the morning. Try fucking living in that shit. You think it sucks having to pick up a homeless person for these cops? No, they come to us and call them bumsicles. They fucking rejoice when one of us fucking dies. Meanwhile, those are our loved ones, our friends who are fucking dead. Jesus fuck, you guys are screwed. Now that you got a possibility of that shit happening to you, you want that free fucking money, don't you? You want that $1,000 that the homeless aren't gonna fucking get. They're never gonna see a fucking dime of that. Now that you're at risk of losing your fucking shit, you're all for fucking socialism, aren't you? You're all for universal fucking healthcare, aren't you? You want free fucking shit. You don't want the homeless to have access to it, but you want it for you, fucking don't you?